Hey everybody, welcome to the commentary for Batgirl vs. Spider-Gwen. I'm Josh, I'm the director of this episode. I'm here with a lot of great people who helped make this awesome. I'm here with Genevieve, the writer of this episode. Hey Genevieve.
Hi Josh.
Hello. And Brandon, the animation director for The Awesome Fight. We'll see you a little bit later.
Hello everybody.
And Ben Singer, the voice of Wiz.
Hey, it's me. Oh my gosh. I'm not being introduced as a director for an episode. It's crazy. It's weird.
Yeah, I was about to ask if it was kind of weird to be on the other side of this for the first time.
It's different. I mean, way back in the day, Nick directed a couple episodes of Death Battle. It was a very different process back then.
Yeah.
But it's been a little while since we've been able to hand it over to somebody else, and now it's going to be a regular thing. Yeah. It's so cool
so awesome
to see what you've done with this episode.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, this was a really fun one to be my first. I was really excited to get to work with this team and to work with these characters. Like, it really helps to be familiar with the characters. That helps to create the vision that then you can articulate to everybody else. But that was like kind of my first question to Genevieve is like, how familiar with you? How familiar were you with these characters before you started writing the script?
Well, I was somewhat familiar just in terms of like I watched Into the Spider-Verse and I knew Batman existed. No, I mean, I knew a bit more than that, but like, at the same time, I was nowhere near an expert, so that's where, our awesome researchers come in and help me out so much, because writing it, I could just go back into those character sheets and then, like, also check a couple wikis just in case I wanted extra details about what these characters have done, and of course, as happens with, like, every character I write for, I'm like, ooh, I love them.
Yeah, especially these two. That's the thing, too, is after you do an episode of Death Battle with any characters, really, you just kind of fall in love with them. Like, they're so fun. You get to dig your teeth into the nitty-gritty about everything that makes them who they are and their history and stuff. It's hard to come away from it without just, like, really appreciating the characters.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think that, learning about Barbara and, like, the weird and awful stuff they put her through as a character, I felt so bad, and I'm like, wait, so like Oracle, or like, spoiler alert, she gets a chip or whatever. I don't know how much people watching this will also know about Batgirl, so I'm like, listen, for me, I was shocked when it turned out that she was like paralyzed and then not anymore, and I was like, oh, comic books, you never cease.
The paralyzed thing is definitely a pretty well-known aspect for her because of Oracle, Killing Joke, whatnot, but I don't know if it's very common knowledge that she's would she technically be part cyborg since she's got a chip controlling the latter, like the bottom half of her body.
Where's the line for that distinction?
Yeah.
Could you make the argument that Batman is cyberpunk?
Probably.
Questions.
Probably. I mean, look at all his tech.
What did you say, Genevieve?
Oh, I just said, like, could you make the argument that Batman is cyberpunk because of all the tech, which Ben responded to? Because I'm she has a cybernetic implant. Like, all the technology that Bruce and them create is very much like let's make things edgy and techy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then also, there has to be some sort of style component. Like, Batman's never just gonna make a gun. It's gotta look like it's a Batman gun. I mean, like, at some point in the process, they're making it look like on brand.
Cyber goth.
Yeah.
The style guide is so important for Batman, and I'm just like, ooh, how much bat-themed stuff can you ever create? Will there ever be a limit?
I don't think so.
Do you think he has like a pamphlet in the Batcave that's like, all right, when you're developing tech, it has to meet these parameters.
Oh, there she goes.
75% black, has to have spikes.
I think so.
The style guide for black. The style guide for Batman products. Oh no.
Oh, it's a long PDF. I love
That's why Nightwing left, because Nightwing wanted everything to be blue, and Bruce was like, nah.
Damn
it,
like,
style guide.
What about blue and black?
Page
and
7 of the style guide, subsection B says no blue.
Only black.
Black
and a little bit of yellow.
Shades of black.
Yes.
Like his soul.
I love it.
That's amazing.
And there's that special little chip we were talking about.
Yeah.
I do not understand. I mean, the tech that comics come up with is so weird to me. Like, okay, superpowers I can buy, and then Batman's creating tech that lets Barbara, like, suplex tigers, and I'm like, excuse me? What is occurring here?
it's like this love-hate relationship I think I have with comics, where it's like I do really appreciate that comic book writers are like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to tell the story that I want to tell. And
Yeah.
it leads for some really cool character stuff because they don't care, and you could just kind of make your own rules and create new things, and it's like this really freeing kind of writing thing. But at the same time, it leads to like some crazy stuff, like being able to suplex tigers. And on to Spider-Gwen. This intro is amazing. Nick edited this intro, and it's awesome. He did such a great job with this episode. Like, just went the extra mile. Look at this. It's beautiful.
Oh my gosh. I'm a
Like,
big
he just
fan.
went all out. I can't, and it's great. It's so
And
cool.
there's my wife, aka Gwen Stacy. She's so cute as like Spider-Gwen, though. I love her.
Wait, when we first started this, you looked at Batgirl and was like, "Oh, there's my wife."
Listen,
So is there a little adultery going on here?
Lucy is like top tier wife, and then it goes like Gwen and then Barbara. You know what I mean? Like you can have more than one wife as long as it's like fictional, all right, and not
okay.
legal. It's not like I have a legally binding marriage certificate to any of these women.
Uh-oh. Well, I love bringing Gwen into this because I think she's a character that a lot of people recognize but don't really know all that much. Like, in terms of, like, the general pop culture mass, I think she's well known but not known well.
I think that's a great way to put it, yeah. For sure.
Especially the idea that, like, she's not actually named Spider-Gwen. That's not her name.
Yeah.
She's Spider-Woman or Ghost Spider, depending on which universe you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially after things go so badly for her in her home universe, and I feel so bad.
And she's using the Venom symbiote,
Yeah,
which was
that
such
was
a twist.
new to me. Totally.
That was new to me as well. I didn't even know she had had a symbiote.
Yeah.
Because she
She's
like,
been using it for years now.
which is I guess another connection between her and Barbara, because like they lose their powers and then get that. Well, okay, powers being the power of walking for Barbara, but
Oh, jeez.
I mean like Barbara's paralyzed and Gwen like loses her spider powers because of crazy comic shit, and then she just finds a symbiote in another universe and is like, all right, I'm back.
Symbiote.
I love how whenever we have writers on commentary, we get to something that maybe, you know, subtlety is important, and then they're like, Liam or Genevieve is just like, she loses the power of walking.
I didn't know how else to frame it because I was being like, oh, it's a cool connection between the two characters. Both of them lose their powers. And I'm like, wait, Barbara's powers are literally martial arts. She's just training.
God.
Oh man.
Okay, but I also, didn't I like write into this script? I don't even remember now. I did something about like, oh, she got better. Like, something that might have been insensitive, and then we had to like run through a couple passes of it before it could make it as a joke.
I remember the back and forth.
I mean, that's just kind of how writing goes, right? Like, in order, especially if you're going for like a humorous sort of take, you kind of have to. It's a little difficult to thread the needle, as we're seeing.
Oh yeah,
threading
and I would
around.
never want to be like insensitive. I was more just like, could this be
Right.
funny? Is this the right context?
Yeah, but that's why it's important to have a writing team and just a team in general who you can trust, and like if you can throw ideas out there and be like, this is probably a bad idea, but like here's a place to start. Let's make it, you know, not shitty.
The amount of puns you saved from the world. My poor awful puns that do not make it through.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens at the end of this episode.
Oh my god, no.
Oh right, there was one pun that you made for this one that you were like, don't put in the episode.
Well, even as we were reading it, you were like, this is actually awful. And I was like, oh, I know, but I wanted to leave it in just to see your reaction. And then...
See, this is great because I'm still, you know, part of the writing team, so I was reading it and thinking like, oh man, if I was directing this episode, that probably wouldn't make it in. But I'm not.
Joshua, oh my
I mean,
gosh,
we'll have to see
you
what happens.
wonderful man, you didn't.
We will see. Honestly though, that was a question I had for you, Ben. Like, as a head writer, did that process kind of change for you, knowing you weren't going to direct this episode? Like, did it change the way you kind of approached it?
A little bit. Something I've always treated Death Battle as. I mean, all the content that we work on is such a massive collaborative process, right? Whether it's Ruby, Red versus Blue, Death Battle, what have you. But so I just sort of leaned into that more so, and it was just less my responsibility to make sure what the final product was like, and instead more so present to you as you're the director, like what I believe would be the best first part, first piece of the puzzle,
For sure.
And then I mean, once that's done, like it's all up to the director.
Ooh,
And here we
to
go.
the fight.
This is gonna be so sick.
I love this fight.
I was so impressed with what y'all did with the animation, by the way.
Oh, it's awesome.
Thank you.
I love this Batcave so much. That opening shot with like the water reflections, it makes me so happy.
I like what you guys did with the screen.
Nice. Yeah. Our post team, Susie and Billy, did an incredible job. Just kind of like adding these finishing touches, and they're like seamless. Like I dare anyone in the audience to pick out which stuff was Viz. Like it's really seamless. And plus, like you guys, the SFM team, like also did a lot of great stuff to like bridge that gap. So it all came out really well.
Yeah,
Oh, and I just love
everybody
how-
did a great job.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I love how the environment has all those like fun little nods to the Batcave, like in comics and in media.
You treat your guests well.
And I love the Barbara model. Like I'm so happy with what we ended up with.
Oh yeah, our model
Yeah.
guy Gooey's really good at it. I like him.
I was gonna say, going into this Devil, making all these models and this environment, especially work in Source Filmmaker, were there any hurdles that were particularly challenging for you guys?
I mean, SFM is like the program itself is limiting, so there are some things that like are out of our control that like are a bit frustrating. So like, you know, Barbara's cape or like webs, which this episode has, water. So sometimes things like that are what makes the process, I guess, a bit frustrating, or the animation a bit frustrating. Oh wow, that looks great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Like,
That's
that's gonna
awesome.
be frustrating, but it looks great.
Oh, but man, I mean, when you see like the finished product and just the environment in general just looks awesome. I feel like this
Yeah.
animation was really good, but there are some things that that'll definitely frustrate you as you create it, but it's all worth it in the end, really.
Because maybe the best way to think about it is SFM is definitely a purely works best for animation, not for like effects and
Right.
style like that.
Yeah.
per
Right.
se.
Right. It's a tool that you can use, to create what you need, but it definitely helps if you have like After Effects or something to assist the program itself.
Luckily, we have an awesome VizPost team.
Yeah, for sure. They
Oh,
really,
yeah.
they did a great job.
It's just when she catches it, she's like, "Wait, why did I do that?" Like the
Yeah.
realization on her face.
I love that. I love that. Like she's got such fast reflexes. She like to a fault. She catches it anyway. It's great. Oh, and I love this. I love the aspect
Nice.
ratio changing. It's so
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
So comic booky. Oh man. Oh, and
I
something that
like
would
remember writing this fight, and I'm still gasping.
I was just
That's awesome.
about to say, Genevieve just gasped at her own little
you know
twist.
exactly what's gonna happen.
I laugh at my own jokes in every single meeting we have, though. So is it really that out of
That's
character?
true.
I think
That's
we all do. I know, like you, me, and Liam definitely do.
Oh yeah, because like
Oh, yeah.
even before Ben gets to the part in the script where I'm like, I have a joke, I start chuckling, and he's just like, "What is it? What's happening? What's coming up?"
Just mentally prepare myself.
Yeah.
Devil, what was your favorite part about working on this animation?
I mean, I like the transition through the whole fight. I think we made a decision earlier on. We all were talking about how the fight starts out really dark, right? If we go all the way to the beginning of the fight, you'll see that it's really dark. It's the Batcave, and then as Gwendolyn appears, the entire episode just it shifts to like this vibrant tone, this pink purple hue. If you look at Into the Spider-Verse, the environment is like that in general. Their environments are very vibrant, very colorful. So it's cool because the fight like transitions, and that's like my favorite thing about the fight.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
very cool.
I really like the change. Yeah.
I love that
almost
it's a visual thing that also is reinforcing what's happening in the fight. Like she slowly starts to gain the lead, and so visually that's what's happening as well. And that's what happens with the score too. Like Brandon's score is so cool, and like it's got like these touches of Batman the Animated Series to start with, that motif, and then it becomes like this more Spider-Verse-y track as it goes. So everything is kind of reinforcing this idea, like reinforcing Genevieve's like awesome fight script.
Oh, thank you. I had a lot of fun writing it too.
And I think that was a really neat idea. We've done, you know, shifts in death battles before, where it will very clearly shift from one character to the next in terms of, you know, style or music, especially as one character gets the edge over the other. But like never that. I don't know if we've ever done like a gradual thing like that before, which is really neat that. Josh, you jump in and your first time working behind the scenes on this, like you do something we've never done before, out of over 120 episodes, which is crazy to me that we're still able to do new things.
Wait, you left it in?
Yeah, we did.
Madman. You absolutely.
I wanted that ending pun to set the world on fire. Like we needed it. It's so great.
I was watching Boomstick's lip laps the entire time. I was like, I can't even focus on what Ben's saying, even though I'm sure it's great. I was like waiting. I was waiting to see.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We left it in.
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. One of my faves.
That's the line. If I were directing this, I don't know if I would have left that in.
It was so stupid. Even me, someone who loves a stupid pun, was like, it's probably not the best.
Yeah,
You might not want to put it in.
To clarify, I wouldn't have removed it per se because it's Jesus or whatever, just because I think it's so ridiculous.
That's precisely why I kept it.
Which is exactly why you kept it. And you know what? I don't fault you at all for that. It's we've had worse.
No regrets.
We've had worse puns. We've had worse puns on Death Battle before. It's not that bad.
I mean, looks like Batgirl turned into Splat Girl.
Yeah,
that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we kind of talked over it a little bit, but next time is Sanji Rockley, which is going to be great.
Which guess who's directing that one?
I'm also directing that little double feature.
What? That's
Back to
awesome.
back. Which is going to be great. I'm really excited about that one too.
It's really interesting to me. Like I like that you were able to jump in on an episode that started with a 3D fight, even if it was through Source Filmmaker, which definitely does have its limitations. I feel like sprite fights are such like a different it's a different world altogether in terms of animation directing, so kind of easing into this crazy Death Battle stuff. I mean, you've worked on Death Battle for years at this point, but easing into it with like a 3D animation where you have a lot more freedom to what's capable, and then going into the very complicated but also very unique world of sprite animation. It's going to be very cool to see what the next episode has in store.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. This was a good kind of first episode for me to jump in and learn the process and then move on to Sanji Rockley. So, yeah.
And it came out so well.
Thank you. Woo. Thank all of you. You guys did a great job.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, the episode came out fantastic. Everybody worked, we worked really hard on the episode, and just seeing it all come together, everybody did such great work.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Totally.
Just like Gwen's spiderwebs, we gotta stick together.
Haha. And on that note, thank you, first members. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
We'll see you all in the next episode.
Thanks for watching. This commentary was originally released on roosterteeth.com for first members in our disastrous year of 2020. But as of 2021, we're bringing them to you on the Death Battle YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe.